Shanti Shanti. So they are all, what are they doing? Whether it is sound signal or whether it is visual signal, when they even enter the indriyas, as they go into the, pass through the nerves, whether it is the sound or the vision, after the first receptacle it passes through the nerves as electrical pulses. There is no vision, there is no sound at all. The sound and the vision and the touch and the smell and taste all are generated by certain signals. They are also electrical signals in the brain. But the whole jugglery takes place in the consciousness finally, in the mind. So whatever be the sapta pranaha, they are all born of that. They are projecting the world in its own manner. As we have the indriyas, according to that is the projection of the world. If we had 12 indriyas, we will have a world which is constituting of 12 elements, and we will say Dvadasha bhutaha, we will not say pancha bhutaha in that case. The model will be of 12 bhutas. Because it is the whole world what we are perceiving. It is made of 5 sensory perceptions. There is nothing other than that. Saptarchishaha samidhaha saptahomaha. This is, as yesterday we discussed, Archishaha. Archishaha is the power. That is, the indriyas are there as organ. To us it is sthula organ, it's a gross organ. But that gross organ is having a certain power. The ears are having the power of hearing. This cannot see. The eyes are having the power of seeing. It cannot hear like that. Partly it can also. Touch sensation and vibrations are going through eyes also. And to some extent vision could be there in other parts also. We don't know. But they are all the archisha, the powers in them. And samidhaha. Samidhaha means in yajna, we put firewood to have fire. In this case, what is the samid? Suppose it is the eyes we are talking about and the power of vision, then the samid for that is the visions we are having, the objects in front, the visual objects in front. Samid for the ears is the audible sound available in the world. That is, the conception is as in yajna we are offering the various materials or the firewood for the agni, for the fire. Like that, as the sound gets into the ears, it gets offered into the consciousness finally. It's all an offering to the consciousness. The food we take is an offering to our digestive system, digestive power. The visions we get are an offering to the consciousness finally. The sound also is an offering to the consciousness, like that. Sapta archishaha, through this sapta indriya, they are all like samidhaha, that 7 kinds of samid, they are all also being offered in the consciousness. The process of offering the samid in the fire is the homa. So it is the homa is being performed all along. So although ritualistically we do yajna in making a homa kunda and performing the ritual with some certain items, they, after performing the rituals as they were doing in the karma kanda, they want us to get to an abstraction, to get into the knowledge part of it. So they are taking the examples from whatever they have pursued as yaga, yajna, homa, etc. But they are sublimating everything, making them subtle, that you don't have to do the yaga in the homa, but you think that whatever is happening in the world, particularly whatever you are doing through your 5 senses, sense organs and active organs, they are all actually what you are doing is homa, provided you remember that the whole world, the whole universe is a yajna of the universal Lord. Whatever actions are taking place, whether the Surya radiating or the Chandra radiating or reflecting, or the universe is getting born, the universe is getting into the black hole, not universe, the galaxies are born, galaxies are getting into the black hole. Everything, it is a part of the universal yajna. As it's the part of the universal yajna, whatever we do, whatever sound we are hearing, that is also a yajna. Whatever vision we are seeing, that is also a yajna. Whatever work we are doing, that is also a yajna. Everything is converted into a subtle Yajna. That is the idea. Sapta ime loka yeshu charanti pranaha. These each Indriyas, they have their own loka, own bhoga. Suppose the ears hearing, we are actually enjoying the sound through that. Some people like this music, some people like that music. That is their world. Some people like classical music, some people like jazz. So that is their own world. So we have these 7 Indriyas they are talking about, they have their own world. All those lokas, those worlds are also not gross, they are actually in the consciousness, they are appearing in the consciousness. Whether you enjoy this or that, the fact is that the perception of that is finally an appearance in the consciousness. Guhashaya nihitaha sapta sapta. This huge universe, the infinitude we are thinking of, they are actually all guhashaya. They are in that small I we think of as our identity. The I, we always say in a selfish manner, in a small manner. Actually the huge infinite universe, the all elements of it is in that. Nihitaha. They are all inside this consciousness. So is it really small? It is not even big. It is transcending both small and big. It is transcendental. So first from the smallness, our mind has to be taken to the infinitude. Once we can take it to the infinitude, then we transcend that it is neither small nor infinity, but transcending both. The concept of small, the concept of infinitude, both are in that. So we should not fear at all. That is why in Kathopanishad, towards the end, it says, Bhayat tapati suryaha. That the fire is burning out of the fear of this truth. The sun is shining out of the fear. Like that, each element they are showing, they are doing their duty out of fear. Mrityurdhavati panchamaha. Even the death is doing its duty. What is the duty of the death? Take away life. Suppose there had been no death, will you be able to live in this world? What would have been the population of human beings? If there had been no death, then what would be the population? We will not be able to survive at all. Death is part of life. Without death, nothing can survive. So the Mrityu also is doing its duty. Everything is running to do its duty out of the fear of this. So when I read it first, I was wondering why suddenly they have incorporated fear element here. All the Shastras, the scriptures, the spirituality is meant for giving us abhaya, take us beyond fear. Then why are they talking about fear? The fact is that when you take refuge in this great power, if you call it great, by the fear of everybody, by the fear of which everything is being done in this universe. So will you have any fear for anything in the universe? When you are sitting in the lap of the highest, the supreme, out of whose fear anything in the universe is done. Suppose you are afraid of nuclear bomb. It is seated in the lap of consciousness. You are seated in the lap of consciousness, in the highest power, in the supreme power. So why do you fear, which is only part of it? Like that, Surya and the destruction and Mrityu, all that we fear, they are all in this. And you have taken refuge in this highest, in this supreme truth. You should not have any fear at all. So they are talking about the fear not to make you fearful, but to make you fearless. Because you should take refuge in this supreme. When you take refuge in this supreme, you are ready to accept anything in life. Be it you have lost your job, you have lost your relatives, there might be some calamity, you have lost everything. But even then, you will be seated placidly that whatever has happened, it does not matter at all. I am ready to accept anything in life, anything happening around. So you will have the more than Himalayan stability, will not be afraid of anything at all. So this expansion is needed to become fearless, to have the freedom. Atas samudra gireshcha sarve, all the mountains and the seas and the oceans, asmat syannante sindhava sarvarupaha, the various rivers flowing with so much of beauty of various kind, various form. Some are very wide, some are narrow, running down from the mountain god. Asmat syandante sindhavaha. Sindhavaha means the rivers, all the rivers, sarvarupaha of various forms. Atascha sarva, oshadhayo rasascha. All the herbs which are growing on the earth, and they are creating the various rasa for us. Yenaisha bhutaish tishthate hi antaratma. They are all seated in your own antaratma, that which is, we are referring always as I. The huge mountains, the huge oceans, the huge rivers of various forms, they are nowhere else but in that same consciousness. Then the last verse of this section, I did it yesterday. Purusha evedam vishvam karma tapo brahma paramritam etad yo veda nihitam guhayam so avidya granthim vikirati ha Soumya. O Soumya, O Shaunaka, Purusha evedam vishvam karma tapo brahma paramritam. Now refer to Saunaka's question, don't forget it. He asked, Kasminnu bhagavo vidyate sarvamidam vidyatam bhavati iti. By knowing what, everything will become known. That was the question. In reply to that, Angiras is answering. So he has come back to his question, saying that this Purusha, which you think that is contained in your body-mind personality. I said Purusha, there are two etymology. One is Puri Shete iti Purusha, that means which is inside the body, we feel as I. Another is Purnam Anena Sarvamiti. This is the, ultimately we know that this Purusha is really the all-pervading, single. It is not fragmented by the body-mind personality. It is everywhere the same. Whenever we try to fragment it by the body-mind personality, we are actually associating the Purusha with some objective parameter. Is it not so? Suppose Akshaya's soul and Sanjaya's soul, if they are different, the two Atmas are different, then how do you identify them? You are identifying Sanjaya's Atma with some Sanjaya parameters, either his bodily parameter, his mental parameter or his behavioral parameter, and Akshaya's Atma with some Akshaya's parameters. Is it not so? How will you identify? The moment you identify that soul with some parameter even some coordinate like that, some quality of the personality, that quality part is object. That you are seeing, that you are knowing, that is not the soul. Any quality we associate with the soul, how are you saying this quality? That he is fat, he is thin, he is dark, he is fair. These are all objective qualities, objective parameters. So it is not the soul. You are associating some objective parameter with the soul. Anything to distinguish the two souls, if you identify, that is an object before you. The soul is the subject which is revealing everything. It is not the revealed. It cannot be distinguished at all. The soul can only be one and transcendental. So Purusha evedam eva, Purusha eva idam vishwam. All this is the Purusha. Karma means, just don't think of karma means some action. Karma means causality. Everywhere the karma theory or whatever you think of, it only speaks about causality. Causality can be of various kinds. It can be of gross causality, it can be subtle causality. Gross causality which we are always seeing. Subtle causality you will find in the mind. If you do something, there will be some cause and effect relationship in the mind. Suppose you become liberal, you behave liberally, you will find an expansion in the mind, which is the effect of the liberal behavior. Suppose you become very constricted and selfish in your behavior, you will find your mind is becoming unhappy, constricted. That is the internal causality. So our Shastras generally emphasize the internal causality, so that we change our thoughts, our behavior in the manner so that the mind gets free, the mind becomes expanded. So everywhere, but they are all karma. Anything that is related by causality is karma. So all this causality, although this source, the ultimate truth, cannot be attained by causality, cannot be attained by any karma, it is beyond karma. But All the causality, causal universe and the karmas, they are sustained by this. Unless there is a permanent substratum, this changeful universe would not have been there. It is not possible. Suppose the I in us, it is seeing, observing all the changes. Bodily changes, I was small, I was young, then I became old, all those changes, it is seeing, because this itself is unchanging. Suppose in the clock, the arms are moving over the dial. Now if the dial also moves with the clock, will you know time from there? Any change has to take place on the background of an unchanging substratum. So the bodily changes we are knowing because that I is unchanging. It is not changing with the body. So it is independent of the body. Although we are associating always by mistake with the body, our Atma we are associating with the body. But truly it is not associated with the body, it is unchanging. That is why it is observing the changes in the body. Similarly, it is observing the changes in the mind. My mind was unhappy 1 hour back, now I am happy, or it will become like this, it was like this. All these changes of the mind. If the soul is the mind, then we would not know these changes. Just because there is an unchanging substratum, we are knowing the changes in the mind. Similarly, the intelligence. Yesterday I was very dull, but today my intelligence is very sharp. I am able to understand. So the changes in the intelligence, the change in its various change from moment to moment, everything we are knowing because there is a substratum, unchanging substratum. Even in the sleep, when there is no signal at all, we are knowing that it is nothingness. In deep sleep, when no signal is there, how do we know? Because still that I is surviving there, knowing that there is no signal. So the moment the signals again come back, we feel we have woken up and I was not awake a little back. So that lack of wakefulness or lack of signals, the lack of awareness, that is also known by this constant, this I. Though the truth is not caused by anything, it is not causing anything, but the whole causality, the entire functional universe is appearing on the substratum, on this substratum. Etat paramritam, and the supreme amrita, that we talk about this immortality. This immortality is also a concept. To annihilate the mortal feeling in us, the mortality in us, we are positing immortality. As the other day we said that although it started with paravidya is yaya tadaksharam adhigamyate, by which the akshara becomes attained. Now later on they said parataha aksharat param. Is it not? You have forgotten. That the supreme akshara, it is even superior than that. It is still above that, beyond that, transcending that. Because akshara means unchanging. Now unchanging, you have the dual of changing. It is also within the duality. So akshara is the point from where the causality starts. From the akshara, unchanging, the changefulness has come. So there also it is related by causality. But the ultimate truth is both beyond kshara and akshara. So even the immortality and mortality also our concept, because we are always surrounded by mortality. Mortality means changefulness. Anything changeful, cause and effect, is mortality. We are surrounded by mortality. So we posit the concept of immortality to deal with the mortality we are suffering from. When that treatment is done, both mortality, immortality have to be transcended, and we reach the ultimate truth, which cannot be expressed, which cannot be talked about also. So that is their idea, that even the concept of truth, amrita, etc., everything is supported by this, on this substratum. Etad yo veda nihitam guhayam. But this supreme consciousness or Brahman or Atma, one who knows this as seated in his own heart. That means it not only seated in his own heart. Again he is using the objective illustration. That is what he is, his real identity. It cannot be seen as, seated in my heart. Then it is again an object. It can only be known as the amness. So one who knows as this, Saha avidya granthim vikiratiha Soumya. O Soumya, Shaunaka, he cuts asunder the avidya granthi, the knot of ignorance. So his all doubts and questions and enquiries vanishes, dissolves. All doubts dissolve, all questions dissolve, all enquiries dissolve. So he asked Angiras in the beginning that Kasminnu Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvamidam Vijnatam Bhavati. By knowing which everything will become known. That means I won't have any more doubt, I won't have any more question about where from did I come, why it is happening. He says, Ya etad yo veda nihitam guhayam. One who knows that this truth, which is the substratum of everything in the universe, is right. I am. It is the amness in us. It is the very subject in me. One who knows that, he cuts asunder the knot of ignorance. For him, everything becomes known. So, O Shaunaka, you have to realize that this Brahman, which is the source of the universe, is nothing different from your own identity. Once you realize it, your all inquiries, all doubts will be gone. Next section. Avissannihitam guhacharam nama Mahatpadamatrai samarpitam Avissannihitam guhacharam nama Mahatpadamatrai samarpitam Ejat pranan nimishaccha Yadetajjanatha sadasadvarenyam Ejat pranan nimishaccha Yadetajjanatha Sadasadvarenyam Param Vijnanat Yadvarishtham Prajanam. Once more. Avissannihitam guhacharam nama Mahatpadamatrai samarpitam Ejat pranan nimishaccha Yadetajjanatha sadasadvarenyam Param Vijnanat Yadvarishtham Prajanam. Avihi. Avihi means brilliance. Initially, whenever we say avihi, we will immediately think of a brilliance which is visible brilliance. Like sun or sunlight, some brilliance coming in. In meditation, we see some brilliance. We will think of that kind of a brilliance. The real avihi is not brilliance. It is the ultimate brilliance which makes us see the brilliance also. It is the revelation. The real brilliance is the revelation. If the consciousness had not revealed the sun, we would not have seen the sun. So it is the revelation. It need not be the physical light. In inside, when some thought has come, how do you know that a thought has come? It is revealed to you. So the thought you are seeing. So avihi actually means the ultimate brilliance, which is the revealer. Now he is saying avihi sannihitam. It's very close. Actually it is not very close. It is the very identity of us. Guhacharam nama. It is as if moving around in our the deep cavern of our heart. That is, we always feel that the I is in us moving in our heart. Avihi sannihitam guhacharam nama mahat padam atra etat samarpitam. Mahat padam atra etat samarpitam.